This segment of the news is brought to you by Smitty's Cards and Coins. Would you like to know what your collectibles are worth? Come by 2281 Postal Road, Unit 4, across from the post office.
Rescuers found a surviving child today in the ruins of a school that collapsed in Mexico's magnitude 7.1 earthquake, one of the many efforts across the city to try to save people trapped in debris under schools, homes, and businesses toppled by the quake that killed at least 225 people. They are still trying to gain access to that child. Workers labored throughout the morning, sometimes calling for silence to listen for any voices from the wreckage as they tried to reach the girl at the Enrique Rabsamen School in southern Mexico City. A search dog entered the wreckage and confirmed that she is alive. Tuesday's quake struck on the 32nd anniversary of the 1985 earthquake that killed thousands. Just hours before it hit, people around Mexico had held earthquake drills to mark the date. One of the most desperate rescue efforts was at the primary and secondary school, where a wing of the 3-story building collapsed into a massive pancake of concrete slabs. The Federal Education Department reported late Tuesday that 25 bodies have been recovered from the school's wreckage, all but 4 of them children. 30 children and 8 adults have been reported missing. Well, here's today's JAMA report. Well, we'll have that in just a moment. Representatives from VEA were before the Board of County Commissioners yesterday to discuss an easement for Grid Alliance Holdco.
Item 46 is for Grid Alliance Transco. They're asking us to amend the annual fee for right-of-way easements. Make your pitch. Or is there? Okay, go ahead.
Good afternoon. Thank you guys for giving us a little bit of time. My name is Justin Campbell. That's C-A-M-P-B-E-L-L, and I'm with Grid Alliance. The county granted us an easement in August for certain 2030 volt transmission facilities. And today we want to ask you to reconsider the annual fee and the escalation factor that was included in that grant. I want to tell you just 2 things as background to set the context here. The first, why is Grid Alliance here with Valley Electric? We are acquiring the high voltage assets from Valley Electric and setting up a long-term partnership whereby we'll work together to develop more transmission facilities over time. We think it's a pretty exciting time. We actually closed the acquisition last week. We'll do a bit of a media day tomorrow, and I understand from Kristen and Liam that there are now checks showing up in folks' mailboxes that are a result of this transaction. So we think that's pretty exciting. The community center was talked about earlier. That's, as I understand it, being funded in part by this deal. So that's all very exciting stuff. But that's why we're here, because we're acquiring those assets. The second thing I wanted to say, just to set the context, as an electric utility company, these lease payments for this easement are what we call a pass-through cost. So somewhat like Valley, we're a rate-regulated entity, and so whatever this ends up being gets passed on in electric rates directly to utility customers, including the residents of Nye County. So when we're asking to reconsider, it's not that there's a profit motive for us or that we get to keep some excess or anything like that. It's a matter of the people paying electric bills getting a fair price for this easement. So that's the
first. And I would suggest that we will charge $1,900 with a 10% escalation factor.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Further discussion.
One way that we look at this with the 10% escalator, we think of these assets as sort of 40-year life assets. And so I think that it's better to think about what the cost to the people in Nye County is over time rather than just 1 year, which adds up to about, not quite, but almost $10 million over that period. So I think that while it may start small, by the end of that with such a large escalator, frankly, it ends up being a lot of money over time.
I have a motion and a second. Further discussion. Call for the vote.
Aye.
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 That does not preclude you from coming back at a future date also to have that.
Give it back to me.
Looked at.
Now give the meeting back to the chairman.
News 46 will be right back after this break.